Hey guys, how y'all doing today? Welcome to the very first Lifted to Life by Dana B podcast. Yay! I am so excited for this opportunity. If you are hearing this, thank you so much for listening in. I just want to shout out Bree Matthews, who is the founder of Brown Girl Self-Care, the Brown Girl Self-Care podcast, for basically lighting a fire under a number of women who attended her workshop a couple weeks ago. And she roughly wanted to light that fire under us to get us excited and revved up to enter this world of podcasting. Now, I know a lot of you are saying there's so many different podcasts out there. Some people may feel that the market is saturated, but if you have a story to tell, if you have some level of experience, if you just want to share your journey or anything that you feel that people can relate to, that you can be a gift to someone, that you can service that individuals, serving as a mentor, serving as a guide, serving as a facilitator, then podcasting you should definitely do. And I'm just excited. I am so excited. So roughly this podcast focuses on self-care. It focuses on helping to discover your authentic self. And I'm super excited to share my journey on how I became or how I discovered my authentic self, and just have fun on this channel. Have fun on this channel and actually do the work so that we can be better individuals and show up better, show up excited, truly walking in our purpose and the will that, if you believe in God like myself, that the Creator has for our lives, and just truly walking as a beacon of light. And that's one thing that I truly do, is I walk in as a beacon of light, and try to become an inspiration for just the people around me. But I was not always this way. Trust me when I tell you, I was not always this way. It took some work. It took me looking in the mirror at myself, and that's one activity that I definitely will be challenging you all to do. But it was a labor of love, and I had some great facilitators that helped me to discover my authentic self, and then absolutely an understanding, knowing who I am and whose I am, and that is super important. And really and truly showing up as myself. Not wearing the mask and not shrinking myself. So again, this is a wonderful opportunity for for you guys to get to know me, and hopefully for me to get to know you. And that's it. So we're going to get this thing started. All right, so today's podcast is entitled, Who Do You Think You Are? Well, we often get that question many times, sometimes when we go on a job interview and they'll say, oh, tell me about yourself. But then sometimes you're asked by just random individuals, especially like if you do like meetup social groups like myself. And when you're asked the question many times of, it's tell me about yourself. And most of the time, people, when they respond to that question, instead of them telling them about themselves, your response is always what you do. I'm a contractor for a particular company. I'm a mother of 2 daughters. I am a member of such and such church, or I'm a member of this such and such social club. I am, what else? I am a administrative assistant. I am a college student. You're not really telling that individual of who you are. I remember Iyanla Van Zandt, she had on her episode of Iyanla Fix My Life, she had posed this question to one of her guests. And the guest, once again, of course, told Iyanla what she did. She didn't express who she was. So Iyanla gave her an example by saying, she said she is a daughter to her mother, mentioning her mother's name. She is mother to 2 children. She ends up with saying she's resilient. She's optimistic. She's a child of the Most High. She's blessed. She came up with these things that describe who she truly was. And instead of you going in and saying what you do, tell them who you are. You are a woman of character. You are a woman who has a loving heart. You are a woman who is extremely resilient. You are more than a conqueror. You are beautiful. You are loving. For me, if I had to answer that question, I am Dana. I'm daughter to Laverne, mother of 2 beautiful queens, Shannon and Noel. I am the son. I am loved. I am God's favorite. I am a Christian. I am loving. I am gifted. I am that gracious and grateful individual. Those are just words to describe who I am. And basically, that's what individuals need to learn how to do. Instead of going into what you do, describe them as who you are. This is who I am. When I post on my different social media outlets, I'm always posting with the hashtag I am the sun, because I truly believe that I am the sun. I'm a bright light. So when I walk into a room, I'm just walking into a room and people see me because I'm always smiling. I consider myself having a very beautiful smile, and I'm always complimented on my smile. When I walk in with my shoulders square. I remember one of my RW sisters said to me when we were doing a class, and I'll get more into Remarkable Women, she was saying to me how she wished she could walk into a room like me. And it's not like I walk into a room and I'm loud and uncouth. When I walk into the room, I'm just who I am. I am the sun. I am the light that continues to shine, that's in and through me. And that's point blank in the period. So as I discussed earlier, the premise of this podcast is not only it's self-care, yes, but it's also to help you discover your authentic selves. And what that does, it takes peeling back the layers, and it means taking off the number of masks and hats that we tend to wear every day. So when you think about your everyday day in the life, when you get up in the morning, if you're a wife, if you're a mother, those are different hats that you wear. Those are different masks that you wear. When you walk into the office, and if you are the CEO, the business owner, the founder, or if you're working on staff, you're wearing a mask at work. You're wearing that particular personality that you carry with you on the job, that you carry with you when you are at church or in your circle of friends. So how I discovered my authentic self, I was married for 2 years. And in my marriage, that marriage was plagued with a lot of mental and verbal abuse. We did go to counseling, but counseling did not work. So we went from arguing every month to arguing every 2 weeks to arguing every week to basically arguing every single day. And what made it worse for me was that my 2 daughters, they had to deal with that same form of verbal and mental abuse. And the sad part is, not even the sad part, the grateful part is he was not their father. He was their stepfather. Sadly, my kid's father passed away many, many years ago. So they never knew their dad. So dealing with that type of abuse, it took a huge toll on my mental health and my self-esteem. I felt so low. I was truly a former shell of myself. And what's crazy is I grew up in a household where my father was a mental, verbal, and physical abuser to my mother. And he was a mental, verbal, and physical abuser to me and my sister. And so it was something that I saw that I said I would never be victim of. And I ended up marrying someone who was a mental and verbal abuser. That it was sad because I saw myself in my children, because as a kid, growing up in a household with a man who, first of all, my father was a drunk. He drank a lot. And when he got drunk, he got violent. And roughly, because my kids, I saw myself in my children. And as a child, when my father would come home drunk and belligerent, me and my sister did our best to stay out of his way. because we did not want to be in the crosshairs. So whenever we knew he was on his way home from drinking or whatever, we would go and scurry into our room and just close the door and not be seen by him, because we knew that when he got into that state, he was not a nice person. Okay. But when he would come home that way, he would take his issues out on my mother, and we would hear her being abused and hit and slapped and whatnot. But as time go on, I will give you guys more details about me growing up in that particular household. So again, my ex-husband, again, we were married for 2 years, and he was that verbal and mental abuser, and it took a big toll on me mentally. So it wasn't until my older sister said to me, she and I were on the phone talking, and she said, "I miss my sister." And I was confused when she said that initially. I didn't quite understand what she meant by that statement. I said, "I live 20 minutes away from you." She said, "I missed the happy-go-lucky sister that you once were. You were one who used to take risks. You really, truly enjoy life." And she saw what my marriage was doing to me. She saw the verbal and mental abuse. She didn't witness the verbal and mental abuse. She saw that what I was dealing with. She saw how my shoulders were up to my ears because I was always tense. And I didn't really think about or understand what she was saying to me until I realized once upon a time I was that happy-go-lucky person before I got married. Once upon a time, I would happily just go on excursions on my own and adventure out or take my kids, and I would just go on excursions. Sometimes we would, like, on purpose get lost on a drive for a reason so that we can just go on adventures. So when she said that to me, that just really hit me in the gut, punched me in the gut rather. Fast forwarding, a few of the women at my church had been going through this program called The Remarkable Women. And the program was created by Reverend Valerie Pearson. You can find her book on Amazon or probably Barnes & Noble. And the program's premise was to help you discover your authentic self. It showed... I showed up at the very last open house before they started the new, the 2012 season. It's a 9-month program that a lot of women went through. And I showed up at the open house. There were a lot of familiar faces at the open house, people who were in my discipleship class, and just, women that I've seen in church. They stood up and they told their testimonies about how the program helped them and what they learned from it and what they gained from it. Some of them had a aha moment when it came to their marriages. Some of them had walked away from very volatile marriages that weren't really feeding their soul. There were a lot of women who had to say goodbye to the husband that was not in support of not only just before the Remarkable Women program, but just in support of everything that they were trying to do and wanting to become. So I believe the program was at the time was $500. And you could pay that up front or you had a payment plan. So they were like, but we would like to have a deposit so you can hold your space. I took my last $50 and I registered for that program. And that was it. So the program, like I said, it was 9 months. And during that time, the transformation was helping me to excavate. It was also helping me to understand that I was wearing a mask. So while I was still married, I was going through the program. And it was the classes were every Saturday. And I would go to the class, and we had facilitators. I had 2 facilitators, and I had like 6 other women in my class. And everybody came to the program for a different reason. But the one thing we all had in common is that we were all women. And some of us were mothers, some of us were wives. I was a wife at the time. Some of us were single, some of us were divorced, some of us were empty nesters, some of us. So it was all walks of life, different ages, different stages. But again, one thing we had in common, we were all women. So I would come home from the classes energized and excited for the next time that we would have a class. And my ex-husband, he would see how different I started to become when I was going through that program. And so, of course, he knew some of the men who were the husbands to some of the women that came through the program, and he had a lot of negative things to say about it. He said that he saw how the program was changing me. And he would say things about how the program has caused a lot of men to leave their wives. But yeah, it did. Yes, it did. Because there were women who had their wake up moment, their aha moment, and realized that, hey, I don't want to be in this marriage anymore. And he saw the potential and realized that I was changing. I was changing. And that the negative words that he was putting out there was, okay, some of these women that decided to leave their marriage realized that they deserved a little more than what they were receiving in their marriage. So the work was done in the program. Like I said, the program was 9 months, and my husband decided to leave May 2012. And let me tell you, it was the best day of my life. It was crazy because that morning I was on my way to work, and my ex-husband had at that time would pick the stupidest times to want to have a conversation with me. Like, I have to get my kids to the bus stop at a certain time, and you get up out the bed and say, I need to talk to you. No, you don't. I need to go to work. I need to get my daughter to the bus stop so she can get to school. I'll talk to you later. He was like, oh, okay. So when I got home that day from work, I thought we were robbed because the TV in the living room was gone. When I walked into the den, the computer was gone. Like, oh, wait, hold on. So I'm looking around the house, and I'm thinking, oh God, what did they steal? So I go into our bedroom, and I realized that his closet was completely empty. The only thing that was in the closet was his Timberland boots. Now, my daughter was home, and I went into her room, and I said, Noelle, was the TV gone when you got home? She was like, yes. I said, did you see, I'm going to call my ex-husband, Ben, did you see Ben? She was like, no. So I'm looking around the house for a note, a Post-it, a letter, or something that says, I'm gone, whatever. He left nothing. He just took all his stuff and just left. So I ended up calling him and said, well, you left. You didn't want to say goodbye. Well, he said, well, I didn't want to start any issues or have any problems. I said, okay, no problem. And that was it. And that, again, was the happiest day of my life. I laid in the bed with my arms stretched out because I had room. He was gone. And so I started the process of removing everything that reminded me of him. And I started to redecorate my home. And that following week in class, I hadn't told anybody that he left. I hadn't said anything yet. Man, hell, I didn't even tell my family that he left. It took me a couple weeks before I told my family members that he was gone, because I wanted to make sure that he was gone, like never to return. So he ended up moving to another state and with a family member. So yeah, it was the happiest day of my life, the happiest day for my kids' lives, because now there was no more walking on eggshells around him. And that was awesome to me. That was so awesome to me. So I graduated from the program in June 2012, dressed in my white gown, and I was then called a remarkable woman. Immediately, my family saw the new me, and they were in awe of who I had become. My light was truly shining bright. My smile was genuine. colors were looking brighter. And I had an understanding and truly loving myself again. And my family members were just in awe of what they saw before them after I came to the program. This level of joy that I had after going through that program and discovering my authentic self. And I couldn't keep it to myself. I had to tell people about it. Every woman that I came across, I told them about the Remarkable Women's Program. And so many people joined and became a part of that program to help discover their authentic self. My mother, she went through the program, and she told us her story of, dealing with my dad's abuse. My mother and my dad are divorced. They've been divorced for umpteen thousand years, but I told my coworker about it. She went through the program, so I couldn't keep it to myself. And then I became a facilitator throughout the next 2-3 years throughout the RW ministry. So once you discover your authentic self, you'll be able to tell people who you are confidently and without hesitation. You will not be able to say, you won't say, oh, I do this or I do that. You'll be able to say, I am confident. I am a child of God. I am resilient. I am a winner. I am strong. I am a believer. You'll be able to describe yourself in words that are positive versus you only specifically focusing on what you do. Well, that's it for today, girls. I thank y'all for listening. And I want you guys to tune in every week for the new podcast. But I want you to take this week, your lesson this week is to journal. Journaling, I want you to respond to these questions. How do people describe you? Your closest friends, your coworkers. What do family members say about you? If you have siblings, mom and dad, what do they say about you? How would they describe you? Do you have a favorite flower? What is your favorite genre of music? What is your favorite type of movie or types of movies? What smells bring you a sense of nostalgia? What is your favorite holiday? What is your favorite color? What is your favorite season? If you had unlimited funds, where would you vacation for 2 weeks? And last but not least, what is your love language? Please take the time to respond to those questions. Really sit down and reflect on those questions. I look forward to talking to you guys next week. If you want to, email me at liftedtolife@gmail.com. Let me know how you like the podcast thus far, and I will see you next time.